Okay, back to tutorial. Just the Camtasia recorder has just crashed, and I had to reset it, and I've reset also Vue to avoid some purged the memory, and restarted Vue to avoid some problems. Okay, so here we are back. So as I said, we were in the DK, talking about the DK. As I said, the DK mount, if you bring it up, you'll have this redding effect near the horizon when the sun gets closer to the horizon. For example, here we could not really see it, but as you can see here, this is the decay mount here. You know, this little orange stripe here, and with the decay in altitude, this will control where or at which altitude the density of the amount or of the decay will be dropped, or will be more dense or more present. For example, lower values will make the decay to go, and higher values will completely merge the scene into the decay. Okay, so you have to find the better settings for you. Okay, here it is. I think it's alright. Oh, sorry, I'm getting problem. Okay, I think it's alright. As you can see, this is the effect here. Just, and for sure you can choose some colors already, more orange color, and you'll have something like this, and you have just to let your imagination speaks for you. Okay, pretty nice. As you can see here, we have this effect. I'm just move the camera a bit. Cool. Okay, now let's see the fog and haze. Okay, firstly, let's talk about people's opinion. Generally, people think that fog is being used for or is used for specific photograph for specific photos or scenes, but fog is constantly present in our atmosphere. Fog, in generic term, is all the particles that have the ability to reflect light, or to reflect light, as I said. Okay, so all the particles that are large enough to reflect light can be called fog in a generic term. Okay, for example, is particle of sand, of ice, everything can be everything like this can be associated with fog. So fog will give you this sensation or this feeling of distance. For example, object here over there will be more visible than object being far away, because this one will completely fade out into the fog, as you can see over here. If I just created another I just create another object or another plane train here, and bring it like here, what you're gonna see is this plane is better visible than this one in some way. But as you can see, this one begins to fade out into the fog. If I bring it far away further, oh, sorry for this, I don't know what I'm doing, but as you can see here, the result is more visible, and this is what is fog. Okay, in some way. So let's see how to modify this one. Here, always in all the settings, here we have the mean altitude. Okay, we have the ground density. So the more, oh sorry, here is haze. The fog density. Here we have a pretty low value. It's displayed like 0, but it was like, I don't know, because I was doing the thing for you to see. So air density, for example, if I bring it up, you'll see you'll never no longer see our terrain. Okay, it's present, you can see, but it's no more visible here. Let's bring it back down, and you can see it begins to be visible here. Okay, I'm gonna add my other terrain here so you can have a better view or result. Okay, just like this. Okay, here we have our two terrains, and let's render out. As you can see, this one is more visible, and this is depending on your density. If I bring it again back to like 16 and I do another preview, you can see this one is more visible and this one too. For 0, you'll still have a really poor amount of or low amount of fog, but it's always present. Okay, so never. And here the mean altitude, this means also at which level the density will drop. Okay, here we are 300 meter. For example, if I drop it back to like 0, you'll see that we always can see our terrain. And for example, for higher values, you'll merge all your scene into the fog. Okay, and this is you can play with, and this is setting you can play with to get the better result. The better result you can, depending on your scenes. And as you can see here, it's pretty good. Now let's see the haze. So what's the haze? Okay, haze is caused by light being scattered all over the atmosphere and colliding with particles, specifically for the sky gases, specifically sky gases particles. And this is what gives the sun, or if I could say, yeah, the sun, this redding or this red light or red tone near the horizon. Okay, so for example, the haze ground density. So if I bring it up, you'll see that the haze is completely merging our scene. Just drop it nice and a bit. Okay, so here it's a bit visible. For lower values, you'll see that we have this effect here, red effect. This means that the haze is haze density controls the amount of of sand and pollution being scattered in this in the atmosphere. For example, if I just put my sky upwards and moved my haze density to like just to show you mean altitude. Okay, I want to just show you here. It's gray, but it's reddish, but doesn't matter. If you can bring it up a bit. Okay, here if I do a little preview, if you can see this little effect here, also this little haze or this gray color is caused actually by the haze in the sky. When you take a look, you can see we always see this effect here of this gray strip, if I could say, or ribbon, which is caused actually by the haze. Okay, haze is caused by particles being around, how can we say, flying in the atmosphere, etc. So this makes the dust or the atmosphere have this strip or gray strip here, which is actually the haze. Okay, so I think higher values will make more visible and more dense haze effect, and lower values will make it less visible, like in here. Okay, just bring it down a bit so you can see a better result. Okay, as you can see, all the settings here are pretty much depends on each other. I'm gonna just bring the sky color, make it darker. So I think I really want to show you. Okay, here it is. I think like this. So right, and this is the haze effect, how it's pretty visible here. You can play with the settings, as I said, and now if you wanted to, here we are in spectral model, in lightning for example, adding some light intensity to create this, to make this effect more visible. Okay, and changing the ambient color, adding some gain or something to just to make your haze or your sky more present. For example, here the sky done white. Okay, yeah, it's a bit visible overall the sky. Okay, bluer. Okay, now let's see now the fog. I just want to take the fog out because, okay, just as you can see, here is the haze effect. Okay, I think you understand, or you've understood what's the haze. So these effects add a lot of realism to your images. You don't have to say, okay, this is just a simple effect, I don't need it, but counter to what people says or say, the haze and the fog effects are very important in our atmosphere. Okay, so be sure to play with the settings here. To have the better result possible. Okay, and here we have the glow intensity, which will simply control the glowing of the. Okay, actually it controls the glow of the sun, but how exactly? You know, fog is generally generated or created because of water particles in the atmosphere. Okay, so fog is caused, if as I said, by water particles in the atmosphere. Once these particles are eliminated, they create a glow or a glow effect. Okay, so this controls the intensity of the glow effect generated by water particles. If I just I want to eliminate them by behind like this, I think it's gonna be a bit more visible. As you can see here, this is and as you can see here, by modifying simple settings as sky, fog, and we have no clouds, only sky, fog, and haze, we've reached a pretty cool image. Pretty cool image. As you can see, we have this fading mountain here and this one just in front of us. This really good. And now let's see the scattering anisotropy and cloud anisotropy. These are pretty specific. Very specific settings. Here it will control the shape of the glowing effect. Okay, so for you'll have, for example, if I just bring it up, you see that it controls the shape of the overall or the coverness of the overall glowing. And the cloud's anisotropy, this controls how the light will be scattered inside clouds, etc. Here we have the God rays, and this pretty it's not easy to show, but I will get back later on to it. So we have to create 2 layers of clouds, and I'll show you later on, but it's very specific effect. I'm just, if I load it scene and choose this, where is it, God rays, this is what this is, this lightning going through clouds here, this is what's God rays, okay, like this. But you can just do a little search, okay. And finally we've got this effect and wind here. If you are creating an animation, you can modify the settings here. You have enable wind on a per plant basis. Choose any one of these depending on your needs. I'm sorry if I'm a bit stuck, but I've got sick for 3 or 4 days, so I didn't really prepare this tutorial, so I'm explaining by myself. And sometimes I have to check the dictionary for some words and some words, and to make easy the communication with you. Okay, so I hope you'll just understand it and get the most information from this tutorial, because I think once you've mastered Vue, you'll have this ability to create such amazing environments, and it's really impressive. So stop talking and go back to our tutorial. So here, by enabling the wind, you can see it only, okay, so here we just enabled the wind, so it's automatically generated. And if I enable the breeze here and uncheck the wind, I'm gonna to have these settings, and I'm gonna explain what's this. Okay, so and okay, this is a breeze. It's a gentle effect or a gentle wind. Okay, so it really caresses the plant here. Okay, so now let's see the intensity. I think pretty self-explained. High intensity means a high effect on the leaves and the plant. Okay, pulsation, how much? The pulsation is the effect of the breeze on the plant. Here you can see that it affects the plant 3 times a second, which make it more violent, or a more violent breeze. And with lower pulsation you have this gentle breeze here, very kind of like, when you're getting in the morning and taking a look at your plants, it's moving like this, pretty. Okay, uniformity. If you look at nature, you can see that each plant moves specifically. So uniformity, if you bring it up, you'll have a uniform movement. But if you bring it down, you have this random movement. Turbulence, I know it's pretty simple to understand, is the variation on the breeze. Okay, in generic way. As you can see, it moves a bit harder, faster and harder, and we have this variation here. But if with 0, you see that it moves somewhat like in a restricted space. Okay, now what we have is gusts of wind. So what's gusts of wind? So I'm gonna just click here to preview it. gust of wind, if you can notice here, is a moment where the breeze is more intense than the normal situation. For example, here it's okay, and here it's being really high or very intense. Or if you take the amplitude high, you'll see that it affects more the plant. Okay, so with lower values, the plant will not be affected, and you have the frequency. Each 1 second we're gonna have a gust of wind. So if we take it each 5 seconds here, 5 times per second, sorry, we're gonna have more gusts. As I think 45, we're gonna have a gust of wind in each second. Okay, and here we have the influence of wind intensity. So if you have wind enabled, or the wind will affect the breeze. Okay, here we don't have wind, but if I enable it and made like 100%, the breeze will be influenced by the, but if I just drop it like 30%, so intensity accelerate, influence of wind. Next we have the influence of wind intensity, which will give you the ability to modify, or to modify the relationship between wind and the wind intensity and the breeze. So the wind intensity, how does it affect the breeze? Okay, and finally we have the fluttering of leaves. This is pretty common, how the leaves move with the breeze, etc. With a high value, you can see that the leaves flutter more, and okay, but it's not quite realistic when you look like this. Okay, so I think lower values, and you have speed. So, and okay, lower speed and lower amplitude, I think we're gonna have some nice breeze here. Okay, now we have the effects tab. So in the effects tab, it's pretty easy and simple. So here we have the stars. You can enable number of stars and the brightness and the twinkle. Okay, pretty self-explained. I think we cannot just save. Okay, okay, I'm just, I don't know if it's visible, but let's take a look upwards and do a render. As you can see here, the stars are visible. Okay, so we have the twinkle here, if you want the stars to twinkle more. Okay, or have the number, you can increase the number of stars, or the brightness, and okay, pretty self-explanatory. Don't lose time on this. I'm gonna put it back to like it was. Okay, and you have with lens flare, and you have colored stars, but this depending on your needs. So now next we have the rainbow. So it's pretty difficult actually to see, but you have it. Okay, so we have to be in a certain situation so we can see it, but this is entirely depending on your atmosphere. Okay, so okay, here I think we have a nice view of it. Okay, this is the rainbow. Okay, they have the size you can, or something, and the fall off. Okay, this is how much it will fade in the sky. And you have the, if you want to, the secondary bow, realistic colors. So okay, depending on your needs, as I said. Okay, so back to our view here, or our scene. And we have finally ice rings, as you can see it's there. Okay, depending on your atmosphere settings also. Okay, so you can here play with the intensity sorry, play with the intensity and the size. Okay, so if you want, you have here the sun dogs and polycarp, but you can modify this as you want to. Okay, default reflection map, this is I think what will be reflected. I actually never used it, but let's give it a try. Okay, and I'm gonna create a reflective material just to show you a sphere, and just bring it down. So also I'm gonna experiment this with you, but I'm pretty sure let's see, for something like, where is it, metals. Okay, and maybe some chrome. Okay, mercury. Okay, let's see mercury. No. Okay, mercury I think it's got a pretty high level of reflection, so let's just see what does this gives us. But I think it's a bit reflecting our image, but I don't know, really, I don't know. Reflection map, let's see. Maybe add something. Yeah, I don't know, I think I never used it, I'm sure, but you have it if you want to do some research here, but I don't know how it really works. Maybe into where is it, reflections, and use reflection map. Okay, here it is. As you can see, you're reflecting a map, a specific map. Okay, here you have some chrome. Okay, so depending on your needs you choose. Now just to close out this atmosphere part, let's create a simple scene. Okay, so I'm gonna reopen the scene we created later on, I mean this one, and I'm gonna bring the sun just in front of the camera. Okay, so we can have this effect here. Okay, move it a little bit, something like this. Okay, and I'm gonna maximize my view, and this one I think, oops, sorry, this one I think will be not very visible, but this one here we need to add some material here, landscape. Okay, choose a rocky material, something like this. And what if we added some glow to our sun? So as to our sun, as we've seen, with modifying the size of the corona. Okay, as you can see, I'm gonna add a little bit less. Okay, and here we have the size. I think is pretty good. And here for the fog size and haze, I want to add some more effect. Okay, so right, I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna add see, just to create nice effect. Okay, so here and another, let's add some foamy water. Okay, and I think it's alright. What we can do is add lens flares. Okay, so by selecting the sun and clicking right here, you'll have some lens flare, but I'm gonna edit it a little bit. Flare intensity, I don't want to be so bright. Okay, flare intensity, I don't want it to be so bright. So, and the color shift, I want it to be yellow, orange-ish, or something like this. Okay, now a bit more, something like this. Okay, the rings color a little bit lighter, and okay, so you have this such a nice scene. Okay, I'm gonna put it to like final. Just here in the settings, choose final, render to screen, and choose a pretty decent size and do a render. See you just after this. So here is the result, pretty decent. Okay, so but just you get the idea how to work with atmospheres, etc. So really quick result. You can work the water texture. Okay, the water texture oriented, add some displacement, some. Okay, so I think we've covered all the atmosphere settings, and we have to move on to the next step. In my opinion, it will be ecosystems. Okay, so we'll work ecosystems, and after ecosystems we'll see the material editor, and I think we will be covering all what's on Vue. Okay, so see you next day.